I look at this Mike Gundy story.
Yeah.
Look at the Mike Gundy story. Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, and I don't know how much validity there is to this, and I just think it's a little bit alarming that we're hearing stories coming out of Stillwater that kids are going to get in the portal next week, and because remember this is now their fourth game.
Yeah.
They're going to leave Oklahoma State because they're unhappy with the treatment of their agents and their parents who are not being paid for and pampered to, and that's not Mike Gundy. And I've been saying this for 2-3 years now. Mike Gundy's not your hucklebear when you want somebody to walk up to your NIL agent and you want somebody to be like, man, we're really happy that you guys are here. What can we do to you ain't getting that from Mike Gundy.
I'm a man.
You're not getting that from his staff. You're not getting that at Oklahoma State. You're not. Mike Gundy doesn't give a damn about your agent, and really he only cares a little bit about your parents.
So get your facts straight.
He cares about his kids. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy that's going to be like, oh, man, that's a beautiful suit you got there, bud. That's not Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
Mike Gundy doesn't want to talk to your agent. And it ain't daddy ball. He doesn't want to talk to your parents. And there is some message board and now, insiders
Right.
who say they know that there's going to be an exodus of players after this week.
3/4 of this is inaccurate.
If you're an exiting player because you don't like the way your agent's being treated, I probably don't want you on my team.
Yeah.
But this is another indicator of how much influence NIL has in college football. And if you're a hardcore college football fan, this should be terrifying to you. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I have no delusions of grandeur. We don't get the best players. We don't get the best NIL kids. We don't. Travis Hunter was never going to Catholic school. But what this tells you is I think the high school recruit is more difficult to get now than at any other time.
Yeah.
Because once you go into the portal, your options shrink. When you're a 5-star kid, when you're a 4-star kid in high school, you're out here. You got a list. You got a list longer than my leg. When you get in the portal, it's about that small.
Yeah.
And things change. So Sam Hartman winds up at Notre Dame. But you look at Spencer Sanders, now you're starting to worry about what happened there. And if you are not worried about Oklahoma State, your head's in the sand. There's a problem in Stillwater.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that, again, I whether it's Gundy being resistant to the portal or to NIL or to new practices or whether it's a culture problem, I mean, I don't know. I'm not even saying that Gundy's falling off the horse here. I'm just simply saying that they're not getting good enough talent to be able to compete in the modern day Big 12. And I think that's Mike Gundy's biggest problem is that he's been in that seat a long time. And he's seen many different versions and atmospheres in the Big 12 on the football field. And I don't think that Mike Gundy has quite caught up to what it takes to win right now. Because if you had, you wouldn't be playing 3 quarterbacks. If you had, you'd already gotten your star quarterback and you'd already be in a better position. And that's why I say, again, we talk about UCF a lot on this show, but I think UCF has done a great job of bringing guys in and recruiting and doing what they need to do to at least be competitive in every game that they play because they don't have the luxury of being Mike Gundy and having job security even if you do suck. I mean, it's just a different thing.
It is a very different thing. John Teal for $2. Imagine if Harvard paid, they'd kill the Big Ten. Well, good luck passing that midterm.
Yeah.
Right? But Stanford's got a $1 billion. I'm tired of hearing about Stanford's endowment.
Oh, the endowment.
Well, why don't
Can you measure it?
Why don't they get Travis Hunter? Oh, that's right. Because school's hard at Stanford. School's hard at Stanford. And that's why they don't get it. It is one of those things that I hate NIL. This is why I hate NIL. Because you knew it was too good to be true. You knew it was too good to be true. When BYU came out with that Built Bar deal where every kid was on scholarship, you knew it was too good to be true.
Yeah.
It is just... Utah Jizz. Hello. Can you imagine advocating for limiting how much a corporation can pay employees? Universities are businesses. Their athletes are employees without benefits. Well, until they're designated that way, can you? I mean, I don't disagree that athletes are employees in theory. Put it on paper. Put that in the IRS code.
Yeah.
Then we can start talking about corporations and employees. But until then, you're 1099 in those kids. They're not employees. They're independent contractors. And I don't want the kid to be an employee. I want the kid to make the money he deserves. You have these $1 billion TV deals. The kids deserve to make the money they can make. But there is a line.
Yeah.
And when we start doing this garbage where pay me $5,000, no, Mike Gundy's going to pay you 10, but Nick Saban will offer you 20. You know what? Funny thing, Lane Train happens to have 22.5. Well, you know what I heard? Jimbo's got 23,000.
But this is
what this is turning into.
That's why you need more structure, though, in college athletics overall, not just around NIL. I mean, again, yesterday on the show we talked all about this relegation concept, right? Like you talk all about like, hey, maybe we need to change the structure of college football.
Yeah.
Maybe if it wasn't just a free for all to go out and get a kid, maybe we wouldn't have these problems. Maybe there needs to be structure, and maybe it should be incumbent on schools to have to work at the school level to get into a certain level. And then we match the kids up. Like, there's got to be something you can do to level this out.
See, D-Rock Irish beat me to this point. And I meant to say this a few minutes ago, and then the whole buckshot thing happened. I heard certain states are passing legislation allowing high school kids who commit to in-state colleges to be able to start receiving NIL payments. It hasn't happened yet. And the issue with this is that this is a double-edged sword. Lopes Van Gabe, I agree, kind of opened my mind to I don't want legislations that punish kids. I think if you're a 17-year-old kid, if you're a 15-year-old kid that signs a letter of intent, it should have no bearing on how much money you can go out and make.
Yeah.
If Jimmy John's Car Service wants to have you endorse their car dealership in high school, why do we care? Why do we care?
Agreed.
As long as you're following the rules and laws of the tax code in this country, who gives a damn?
Apparently a lot of people.
That's the problem. If you want to go hook it up at an oil change place, a car dealership, a real estate brokerage, why do I care? When you get to college, they should be able to keep paying you. Who cares? What I do care about is the bidding war for high school kids. Let that sink in. Everybody likes to say, well, they're football players, Monty. No, they're high school kids. And you're teaching them, in my opinion, the wrong line of thought.
Yeah.
Well, let me go over here, and then I'm going to play you against you against you against you. Well, what happens when you're not that good at college football and nobody's offering you money anymore?
Oh, that's right. Your career ends.
And you didn't get that education that everybody said was free. Then what? Then we're going to go back to bitching and moaning about, Perv and Liar pulling kids' scholarships. It doesn't work both ways.
Yeah. That's
the issue. It doesn't work both ways. I don't know, and I'm not sitting here telling you I have all the answers. Because I don't. I don't. I truly do not. I wish I did, but I do not.
Yeah.
And the more and more that we go through this and the more and more that we argue over this, I don't know that there's a perfect answer. And, I look at the fact that we wind up playing this game every time a kid makes money.
Well, and I think that's the hard part about this whole conversation, money in college athletics, is like, okay, let's say we do roll out like either legislation or new rules or new structure, whatever the case may be, whatever it looks like. There's always going to be that guy in the system that's looking to skirt the rules.
Yes.
So I think that's what's hard is like we're always going to be having these conversations. We're always going to be talking about fake line items on P&L sheets or handing dude a bag of money out back. Like, we're always going to be talking about this. Basically, it just needs to be reeled in a little bit so there's protection so you can hold people accountable. Because, again, that's the world we live in. Okay, what's the rule? Let's understand the rule, and then let's understand how to get around the rule. That's what it is. That's what it's always been. And ultimately, for the kid, all the kid has to worry about is being good at what they do in whatever sport they play.
Yeah. Man, that's so perfect world. Just be the best football player you can be, son. Remember those days?
Yeah.
No, I don't either. John Teal for $2. Gundy just isn't willing to adapt. That's his problem. On some level, you're exactly right.
I'm a man.
But, and I don't want to be too harsh on this. Why isn't Spencer Sanders in Stillwater? What happened? What's the truth? And I don't know that we'll ever know. And there are all kinds of stories out there. I don't know what the truth is. I'm not there every day. There's a systematic issue in the Oklahoma State football program right now, and it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to keep these kids from talking. You're not. Cowpoke Ranch for $2. We'd offer Brenda Tracy a great... Come on, man. Let's not make Mel Tucker jokes on the show, please. Beavers on a rampage. Isn't SMU the Lewis and Clark of NIL? Absolutely. MJ Bissett. The real problematic free-for-all causing this is college football operating as independent teams. Imagine if the Dallas Cowboys called the shots in the NFL like Texas, Bama, etc.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey,
Totally agree.
but how do you fix it?
Yeah, you don't. That's my point. This is exactly what I'm saying. There is no fixing this. There is reeling it in, or maybe kind of putting the monster in the cage, if you will. But you're not fixing this. Like there's too many of these situations. Hey, all these teams run their own business. There's no like guideline. There's no really anything that governs it.
And let's not forget, schools are not supposed to be involved in NIL shit. Like it's supposed to be, dang.
Dude, you were
I need
doing
a swear
so
jar.
well. 48 minutes, dude. You did so well.
Schools are not supposed to be involved in NIL stuff.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be doing that. They are not allowed to be involved in collectives. They are not allowed to be involved in boosters. They are not allowed to be involved in what a kid makes.
But how could they not be with this situation? I think that's what Gene is saying. Hey, dude, these kids are asking for $5,000 or whatever the amount sums up to come visit. Well, visit is a school thing. It's not just a football program thing.
I agree.
Like, it's coming to see the campus, the culture, the food, whatever. You're coming to see all that. So, Lane Train's not taking that out of his salary, right? The assistant's not taking it out of his salary.
No.
That's a school budget line item issue. So whether the school wants to be or not, they are. And the idea that we wrote a rule that said, hey, the schools shouldn't be involved is absolutely asinine to me.
Yeah, I agree. John Teal for $5 now. Are you bidding your way for a... Never mind, I'm kidding. If they don't want to pay blue chips to visit, then just recruit 3-star players and coach them up. Just say no and get him later from the portal. But is that a decision that we should be talking about? Because what did we just do? We just insulted the 3-star player.
Yeah.
Well, I can't get the best guy, but you'll do. It's not, I understand that that's probably too soft and too, I get it. We should not be saying, well, I can't get the kid I really want, but Jimmy,
I knew today would be shitty.
looks like you've got shoulder pads and a helmet. You ever play quarterback before? Like, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
At the same time, though, I think there's a valid point within that, though. Like, if you're, like Nick Saban, right? We've talked all about how Nick Saban's struggling for talent. If you're Nick Saban, your big X factor here is screw the portal.
But wasn't Jalen Milroe, I think Jalen Milroe was a 5-star kid.
But my point is for Nick Saban, if Nick Saban or any coach can get away from the 5-star kid who has all the attention and get to that 3-star kid that really didn't get recruited heavily and needs a shot and is willing to work hard and you can develop that person, that's the X factor here, because the 3-star kid, like we've just been saying, isn't getting all the NIL money. They don't have the popularity.
No, Jalen Milroe was 4.25 star.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse you.
Jalen, be better.
Yeah, dude, be better, please.
Dallas Cowboys update here in 60 seconds. Boss Frog, my guy, what's up? Jake, Boss Frog's here.
Oh, great.
Okay. More money, boss. Dude needs a new shirt.
Yeah, dude, are you wearing teal today too, or what are we doing?
No. Purple every day. But who exactly is paying for these visits? Ooh. Now we're having a conversation. Because if I'm cutting a check annually to a nonprofit to provide student athletes opportunities. We call that a collective, friends. And seeing an annual report where the money goes, I'm not giving donations next year. I'm on board 100%. Like, and this ultimately is a problem. Go to SMU. Well, we have this huge collective. They're going to pay you $10,000 to just come and visit us, okay? Dallas on the chest and stuff, okay? Ready? Okay, here we go. So they pay you $10,000. You show up, put Dallas across your chest, and then you go and play at Texas A&M. You go play in Austin. You go play in Fort Worth. You go play in Houston. Probably not for Rice, but for
Don't you know who I am?
For Dana Holgerson before he gets fired at Houston. But anyway, that's not really the point. My point is, you don't go and play in Dallas County, boy.
No, you got to go to Tarrant County.
You go play at UTSA. What is a booster at SMU say?
Yeah.
Because if you're getting $5,000 to come for a visit from SMU, I would assume somebody else, you're probably a pretty good player, right? I mean, I would assume you're not paying 3-star kids $5,000.
But that's the issue with this whole thing. We're not incentivizing the kid. We're incentivizing the booster collectives and
we're
school.
incentivizing the kids' parents.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me mom and dad don't love the $5,000 more than the kid does.
Yeah, daddy ball's paying off the mortgage real quick.
But imagine a kid that's taking multiple official visits and he's getting $5,000 to visit. He takes we're talking tens of thousands of dollars just to go and step foot on a campus.
Yeah.
Not to sign there. It's a Travis Sham mockery, in my opinion. Yeah. I hate the whole thing. Call me old man on a porch. I'm sure that I am
Excuse me, it's get off my lawn, guy.
I am just barking at the wind. I totally understand it. I hate the whole thing.
Yeah.
I hate the whole thing. And again, I'm a Notre Dame fan. We don't get the best recruits. Now, do we get really good recruits? We do. But the best recruits in the country are not coming to Notre Dame.
Right.
And if we got to pay $5,000 to have a kid come visit, I probably don't want that kid on my team. Are you telling me that Tuscaloosa on a Saturday afternoon for Texas is not enough payment for you to bring your mom, your friends, your mom, your brother? Why don't you come stand on the sideline for the Texas game? Because that's where the 5-star kid's going.
Yeah.
That's not, and we're going to put you up in the nicest hotel. We're going to take you to Bob's Steak and Chops.
But this is my point.
That's not enough?
No, I think part of it, I agree with that, but I think part of it for the kid's not worried about what's enough or not enough. The kid's saying, oh, the system's willing to feed me in this way. Let me get my parents taken care of. Let me get myself taken care of while I still can, because I know that inevitably this road leads here. Like, for some kids, here's the NFL. For some kids, that's 4 years.
Yes.
So, dude, the kid's saying, hey, bro, I got to take advantage of this to the fullest.
Well, and not to keep going back to Deion Sanders, but what did he say about Shador and Shiloh? Specifically Shador. Because Shador is NFL eligible today. Right now, he can, after the season, he can go into the NFL. He's not. He's coming back to Colorado. And why is that? Because he's driving a Maybach. And he's got this deal and that deal. He's making not hundreds of thousands. Shador Sanders is making millions of dollars in NIL.
Yeah.
Why is he going to the NFL when he can hang out? And he says he loves every single days with his brothers and his dad playing football.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And you're making millions of dollars driving a Maybach? I think I'm going to hang out in Boulder. And for my money and for my sensibilities, that's what I want my kid to do. I want my kid to be innocent, playing college football, hooking up with the chicks. Like, if Shador Sanders was my son and he was that level of quarterback ready to go to the NFL right now, I would have the same conversation with him that Caleb Williams' father had with him. You're making bread. You have got the chicks. You have got the cars. You have got the off-campus house or condo. Why are you going to the NFL? Matt Leinart. Yeah. Matt Leinart goes back to USC, and what's the first thing we saw of Matt Leinart? He was in a hot tub with like 7 girls at SC. If I'm Matt Leinart's dad, that's where I want my kid. As long as possible, because now this is way too far. We take the innocence of our kids away too fast.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
Because Justin Fields and, all these dudes that are Zach Wilson wouldn't give a left nut to have stayed one more year at BYU at this point?
100%.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's remarkable the damage we do to a kid. As soon as he's not a kid, he's an NFL player anymore. I got news for you, he's still a kid.
Yeah.
Because you don't mature and grow up when you're playing college football.
No,
you're
the
privileged.
expectations just mature and grow up.
You are privileged.